Estimations and expectations, today's modern source of most of tech problems, right? No matter what tools, processes, methods, techniques and software we use to aid, address or solve these two apocalypse horse riders, we can't seem to deal with it. It's the divide between managers and developers. You can have expectations without estimations, or even estimations without expectations. So let's sync our clocks and to-dos, shall we? And now, about this. Since the Agile Manifesto was first signed back in the early 2000s, software teams have built upon new norms of working. At that point, they were no longer bound to the waterfall method of requirements, design, implementation, test and fix, and finally deliver. But Agile methodologies for engineering managers are mostly focused on the traditional practice of estimation. Despite teams having some proficiency in Scrum, everyone struggles and indeed takes a lot of time to invest in estimating work rather than doing the work itself. This then leads to some wrong expectations of what estimation should be, and I find that funny, I must say. The traditional way of doing estimations is to assigning an average point value to all tasks and then adding some margin for error. This, for most managers, is the best way we found to deliver some completion dates that hopefully can be consistently accurate date. I'm not going even to delve into the velocity now. Those could infer a stakeholder that works in a waterfall method. Am I right or not? You know I am. So how can we address this issue? Well, there are some interesting approaches that managers could take. First, instead of using the traditional method of assigning varying complexity points to each task, we can assign an average point value to all tasks. This can enable teams to be more vague on their assumptions and deliver effective dates without detailed estimations. Even more if your team is more creative and focused, then you can simply, and hear me out, eliminate estimations altogether, which then focuses the team on actually delivering work without a cooking pressure pan to come up with dates and estimations. It's done when it's done. Finally, tracking velocity and productivity by completed tasks per week rather than by story points is also a good strategy as it offers a more straightforward measure of their throughput. Here on this example is key to use the cycle time, the time a task spends between in progress and done, to understand how effectively dates are being broken down and delivered. Usually an increasing cycle time can indicate the need for better work breakdown. However, one of the benefits of this approach is to increase efficiency and produce a high-performing team that spend less time on meta work. The traditional discussions are on stand-ups, endless meetings to discuss timelines and deliverables, or activities not directly related to complete a task in hand. And I do think that this aligns quite well with the Agile principle of minimizing the amount of work not done, which refers to eliminating non-value added activities. As for expectations, this approach may require some adjustment, particularly for teams and managers used to more traditional Agile practices, let's say. I reckon that some might resist this change, especially if they are using estimations as a key part of their planning and reporting processes. Moreover, when their stakeholders are on the waterfall side of the world, as I mentioned. However, for teams that are open to experimenting with new methods to increase efficiency, this approach could be a beneficial adjustment that aligns with the Agile's principles of adaptability, continuous improvement, and focus on delivering value. Bottom line, these changes can reduce unnecessary meta work, increase efficiency, and allow the team to focus more on task completion. However, I must emphasize that this approach might not work for all teams, particularly those new to Agile or those still improving their ability to break down tasks. This is when having the time and capability to innovate your approach and think on how to improve current methods and techniques is important on all teams. There is no silver bullet for estimations and expectations, but rather different approaches that might or might not work.